in other news in Futurama, I posted a recap for season, well, I guess under the Disney Hulu Plus thing, it would be season 6 and 7. So I finished my last 2 volumes of Futurama that I have, and according to Hulu Disney Plus, that would be seasons 9 and 10. But according to Wikipedia, it's season 7, so you make up your own mind. Going through these episodes, first one, The Bots and the Bees. Yeah, this is where, this was a good one. Bender ends up, he wants to be a deadbeat dad because Wanda Sykes is in this as the deadbeat mom. And so they have their son, who Bender names Ben, and he's going to be a deadbeat dad, but she beats him to it by being a deadbeat mom. So he ends up having to raise his son and being really good at it. So this one has a lot of funny laughs in it, but also tugs at the heartstrings a lot. It's something that they like to do in this show. Next one, A Farewell to Arms. Yeah, that's the moon prophecy, and we get to see the Martian again and the Wongs. That one, I mean, as all of them, they had funny laughs. Not necessarily one of my favorite ones. Decision 3012. So I think this was parodying the 2008 presidential election, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. U.S. presidential election. It's about time traveling in that. I mean, it's more geared toward American audiences. It was alright. The Thief of Baghdad is episode 4. We get... This one has some interesting science fiction stuff with the empty husk skins and that. It had some scary stuff in it. Yeah, it definitely was funny as well. Zap Dingbat, it's another Leela episode, but more so it's about her mother and her father. The stuff with it has some funny stuff in it, especially with the dad, because he ends up surfing the great sewer waves of the world, which gross. And Fry and Bender go with him. The butter junk effect, that's about Leela and Amy, because they're juicing, because they become professional athletes in the moon. They're battling as butterflies. That one's pretty funny. The $6 Million Mon. That one, which is about Hermes. He becomes Mecha Hermes. That one's really funny. I definitely recommend checking that one out. Fun on a Bun. That's Fry and Leela. They end up going to Oktoberfest in the future, but it's not anything like Oktoberfest now. Anyway, that had some funny stuff in it. Free Will Hunting. That one is where Bender becomes an animal rights activist, I believe. But is that the right one? No, that's not the right one I'm thinking about. Free Will Hunting. That's where Bender is looking for free will, and he goes through all these different things, like one right after another. He enrolls in college and then falls in with a bad crowd and then gets kicked out, and he's going to get a warning, but he drops out, and then he becomes addicted to vaping. Spark, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that one was pretty interesting. Near Death Wish, that's where we first see the professor's parents, Graham and Shabadoo. And Graham is voiced by Estelle Harris, who was Estelle Costanza in Seinfeld. Then 31st Century Fox, that's the one where Bender becomes an animal rights activist. There's some funny stuff in that, especially where he gets his horse. Viva Mars Vegas, that's a Zoidberg episode. It's got some good stuff in it. It's an Ocean 11's parody. Naturama, that one's interesting to watch, and it's fun, but I don't know about, it's not in continuity for the show. It's just kind of it's just their spin-off shows. They like to do what if shows, so I don't find that it's that good for rewatching. I do enjoy the salmon episode, and the turtle one was okay. What was the last one? I can't remember. Let's see what we got here. Next season, 40% lead belly. What happens in that one? 40% prisoner transfer. Yeah, that one had some funny stuff in it at the beginning, but I didn't really care for much of that. 2D Blacktop. That's their Fast and Furious parody episode where the professor wants to go hot rodding and street racing. So he zoops up the Planet Express ship so he can go hot rodding and street racing. But then at one point they get stuck in a 2D universe. It's got some interesting stuff in it. T the Terrestrial. That's with Jur, which is Lur and Inda's the Omicrons. That's their son. I guess he was the Poplar that we saw back in like the third season, I think it is. Third or fourth season. Which was a great classic episode, the Poplar episode. Anyway, this one, I didn't like it at first, but having rewatched it, I enjoy it a lot more because it's essentially E.T., but Fry is E.T. in this version. And he's eating these candies, which are actually Jur's poops, but they look like Smarties or something. You know, going back to your E.T. movie. That one has some funny stuff in it, actually. Especially with Hermes, and he wants to have cloaking devices or stealth technology, but they got nothing. What do we got? We got a spray can. The Inhuman Torch. Well, that's where they all become firefighters, and Planet Express becomes the firehouse for New York. Saturday Morning Fun Pit. Yeah, they do. This also is not in canon, but it does have some good stuff in it. The first, they do Futurama in different old cartoon versions. The first one is Scooby-Doo, which is not funny at all, I found. I mean, I get that it's making fun of Scooby-Doo, and it even has George Takei in it, but I didn't find it funny at all. The next one is the Smurfs one. That one was hilarious. That one was really good. It was Smurfs as well as My Little Pony that they were parodying in that one, and that one was hilarious. And then the last one was G.I. Joe, and you had Nixon editing it, and that one had some good laughs in it too. Let's see, next episode, Calculon 2.0. Yeah, they have to bring back Calculon because he died back in the Thief of Baghdad episode, so they gotta bring him back by getting his soul from the Robot Devil. Means they have to make a deal, and of course the Robot Devil is happy too because he's sick of listening to Calculon and his constant talking and what's he doing? Soliloquies. He's always doing a soliloquy to himself, or just narrating his afterlife. Assy Come Home. Yeah, that one was pretty funny as well because Bender gets dismantled in that one. Leela and the Greenstock. Had some good laughs in it. It's a parody on Jack and the Beanstalk, the old fairy tale. What's the next one? Game of Tones. What is this one about there? Slowly being approached by a mysterious alien ship. Oh yeah, this is another retcon for the original episode and how Fry gets frozen and sent to the future. So they're always retconning that. They just keep adding more and more stuff to it. So this episode is essentially taking the Star Trek 4 movie and doing a parody of that, but also using the ship from Close Encounters of a Third Kind. So it's got a lot of science fiction references in it. I didn't find it that funny. Murder on the Planet Express, which of course is a parody of Murder on the Orient Express. That movie came out a few years back, but it's based on an old Agatha Christie novel from, 80 years ago now? Maybe 90 years ago. Anyway, that one had some good laughs. It's also parodying the Alien movie probably the first one. Yeah, some good laughs in that. Stench and Stenchability. That's mostly about Zoidberg, and it's kind of an emotional story where he meets, because he can't find anyone, he can't find a girlfriend or anyone to put up with him because he looks awful and he smells terrible. Till he meets a woman, he meets Emilia Clarke in Futurama, and so it's a love story for them. But at the same, and I didn't find it funny at all. It's meant to be emotional. Meanwhile, the side story is with Bender entering the neighborhood tap dancing competition, and it's absolutely hilarious. I love it. He's just being such a jerk to this little girl, and it's so funny. But also, it turns out that she deserves it because then she breaks his leg, you know, which is a reference to Nancy Kerrigan in the 90s, if you know that. Or if you saw that I, Tonya movie. If you didn't see that I, Tonya movie, go check it out. It's great. I had a really fun time with that. But that side story with Bender is absolutely hilarious. Meanwhile, Zoidberg is finding love. And the weird thing is like, he finds love, and they don't break up at all. They're still together at the end of the episode. They haven't mentioned her since, but technically they could bring back Emilia Clarke to voice that character again. What's the character's name? Marianne, something like that. And well, she just finished doing that god awful Secret Invasion. I don't know. Maybe she'd do it. Maybe not. And then you get the another series ending in the last episode. Meanwhile, which is all about time travel and this 10-second go back in time button, which I believe is a reference to the old, an old Battlestar Galactica episode, which then they also did in Galaxy Quest about with the Omega 13 going back 13 seconds. Anyway, that episode had a lot of emotion and a lot of heart in it, you know. If you're someone who gets emotional at some of these things, that one's one of the tearjerker episodes, which this show has been able to do. Oh well, I really enjoyed going back and watching these Comedy Central seasons, because the first 4 seasons from Fox I've seen so many times, and I do enjoy watching them. And then the movies I've also seen many, many times. And then so these ones I've seen the least because they're also the newest. And then now we got the new season on Hulu, which I'm loving it. What do you guys think of the new stuff on Hulu, Disney Plus? Season 11, is it good? Is it bad? Do you have any thoughts on these last 4 seasons from Comedy Central? Back around 2010, I think it was. Hold on, let's see what... 2008 to 2013. Jeez. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on Futurama down in the comments below. We always appreciate anyone who gives us a like or a comment there.